It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 4th annual Captain Nichola Goddard Leadership Roundtable, which highlights women role models in the Canadian Armed Forces and raises funds for the Captain Nichola Goddard Fund at True Patriot Love Foundation. I am honored to be here welcoming you to this incredible virtual event and thrilled to see Canadians from coast to coast to coast joining us here today. I would like to thank our presenting sponsor, Enbridge, for their generous support to this event, and our gold sponsors, BMO, Canso Investment Council, HSBC, Hydro One, Osler, PSP, PwC, TD Securities, and Weintraub Erskine Wong LLP, our silver and bronze sponsors. I would also like to thank the entire committee that has helped organize this event today. We wouldn't be able to host this event without your support. We are in for an incredible afternoon hearing from the first ever woman Vice Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Frances Allen. We know that she will share some incredible lessons that can be taken back and applied to our own workplaces to support leadership journeys, particularly during these challenging times. It is wonderful to join you all today. I recently joined the True Patriot Love Board of Directors, and I'm thrilled to be able to support such an incredible organization. From a young age, I had a passion for aviation and a keen interest in math and sciences. This led me to join the Canadian Armed Forces in the late 80s. I attended the Royal Military College in Kingston, Ontario, studied engineering physics, and became an aerospace engineering officer. My service in the military prepared me in so many ways for a career in the defense and aerospace industry. I experienced leadership in action, leadership by example, got immersed in a life centered on teamwork, and I also learned a few things about resilience, which has been definitely useful throughout my career. As a veteran, as a woman married to a veteran, and the mother of a son now in the military, it is for me very important that we support our military personnel and veterans. Our keynote speaker today is Lieutenant General Frances Allen, who joined the Canadian Armed Forces in 1983. Throughout her career, she has commanded at multiple levels, including officer commanding the National Systems Management Center in Ottawa, at the Aerospace and Telecommunications Engineering Support Squadron in Trenton, as well as the Canadian Forces Network Operations Center and the Canadian Forces Information Operations Group. Staff appointment have included the Operations Officer for the Information Protection Center, Executive Assistant to the Vice Chief of the Defense Staff, Director Support Operations in the Strategic Joint Staff. On promotion in 2014 to Brigadier General, she assumed the post of Director General Defense Security at NDHQ. Lieutenant General Allen also served as Director General Cyberspace, Director General Information Management Operations at NDHQ, and Joint Force Cyber Component Commander. She was appointed Deputy Vice Chief of Defense Staff after being promoted to Major General in June 2018. In July 2020, Lieutenant General Allen was promoted to her current rank and was subsequently appointed to serve as Military Representative of Canada to the NATO Military Committee in Brussels, Belgium. She returned to Canada in June 2021 to assume the role of Vice Chief of Defense Staff. Lieutenant General Allen is a graduate of Queen's University, the Canadian Forces Command and Staff College, and Canadian Forces College National Security Program. She holds a master's degree in Defense Studies from the Royal Military College of Canada and has been invested as a Commander of the Order of Military Merit. Lieutenant General Allen will be sharing her experience leading in ambiguous and challenging times forging a new path as women leader in the Canadian Armed Forces and how civilian organizations can learn from the military. I am pleased to now introduce Enbridge, our presenting sponsor, to share why they are committed to supporting women in leadership. Following that, Kate Rusk, the sister of Captain Nichola Goddard, will share a message about the impact and importance of the Captain Nichola Goddard Fund, and then we will hear from Lieutenant General Allen. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you are as excited for this afternoon as I am.
Hi, my name is Emily Pavley, and it is such a pleasure to be here today on behalf of Enbridge. Enbridge exists to help fuel quality of life within the communities where we live, work, and operate. Every day, we are energizing communities through the volunteerism and generosity of our employees and through investments and partnerships that strengthen the safety, vibrancy, and sustainability of where we live. We collaborate with community leaders and organizations like the True Patriot Love Foundation to support programs that are inclusive, future thinking, and help to bring out the best in people, and where we know that we can make impactful and sustainable change. Enbridge is also committed to building a diverse and inclusive workforce. We know that leading in complex and ambiguous environments requires diversity of thought, experience, perspectives, and culture. To demonstrate our commitment, Enbridge announced a series of performance goals in 2020, including increasing veteran representation within our workforce. Enbridge has a deep appreciation for our military sisters and brothers. They put themselves at risk, step up and lead, and work hard to ensure our safety and the security of so many people around the world. And sadly, as we saw happen with Captain Goddard, we know that the cost of that service is sometimes the ultimate price. I joined the Canadian Armed Forces as a reservist in 2008 and spent 14 years as a logistics officer in the Royal Canadian Navy, training and serving within Canada. I retired in November of this past year. As a young female officer in our armed forces, the story of Captain Goddard has always resonated with me. In 2012, I was backfilling the full-time chief clerk billet on HMCS Hunter. That year marked a turning point for me. My career manager had called and offered me a deployment posting. The role was one in Kabul, Afghanistan, where I would work as a supply officer. I spent the following week deliberating on what that would mean for me, the opportunity to serve my country in such a supreme way, a guaranteed progression within my career, not to mention being a female and achieving something of that magnitude. I just couldn't get Captain Goddard out of my mind. At the time, I was the same age she was when she died. I couldn't shake that she would never see her parents and sisters again, never have a family of her own. She'd never step foot back in the country she was fighting for. I didn't go to Kabul, and the following week, I applied to return to university. Within a few months, I was hired into the Chartered Accountant Training Program with Enbridge, formerly Union Gas, which eventually led me to being here with you all today. I do believe my time with the military was a major deciding factor bringing me into the company, as the business and life experience set me apart from my counterparts. We reflect on the strength and bravery Captain Goddard exuded when leading her soldiers in the incredibly complex and ambiguous environment of Afghanistan. We need more people like her, especially to get us through the numerous challenges that we're facing today, both domestically and internationally. Thank you all for being here with us, for helping to raise funds in the support of the Captain Nichola Goddard Fund, and for improving the lives of female servicewomen, veterans, and their families in our country. I'm very much looking forward to the keynote address by Vice Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General Allen and all the discussions that follow. Thanks again, and have an excellent day, everyone.
Thank you for joining us today to celebrate my sister Nichola's legacy and to support Canada's servicewomen and female veterans. When Nichola was in Afghanistan, she often wrote home about the incredible strength and courage of the Afghans that served with her and her team. They were trying to achieve something that we in Canada have long since taken for granted. In her words, they lay down their lives daily to seize something that is so idealistic it is almost impossible to define. As we all pray for the Ukraine and look to our own border in the north, we're reminded that our values of democracy and human rights are more fragile than we would like to believe. As we witness extreme heat, flash floods, and ever more unpredictable natural disasters as a result of climate change, we're reminded that our military's role is also to help Canadians here at home. As we continue to better understand the extent and impact of misinformation and cyber attacks, we're reminded that whether we like it or not, we're already engaged in a new conflict where our adversaries attack our businesses and our infrastructure as a proxy for attacking our values. These recent events have reminded us of the importance of our military, and that military includes strong women. Along with being a testament to our value of equality, higher levels of gender representation have been connected to a lower propensity for conflict, both between and within states. In both corporate Canada and in our military, diversity, inclusion, and equality are incredible strengths. Canada needs strong women on our battlefields and in our boardrooms. And since starting this event, we've repeatedly seen how lessons from female leaders in the military can benefit corporate Canada, and how lessons from female leaders in corporate Canada can benefit our military. I'm excited for us all to continue this discussion and learning today. We created the Captain Nichola Goddard Fund to celebrate and support servicewomen and female veterans like Nichola. You have enabled us to support programs from coast to coast that help them manage the realities of a career in the military. If I leave you with one thing today, please join me in sharing the legacy of Nick and the other strong women here that represent Canada at home and around the world. Let us celebrate their strength, and may their stories and their lessons help build and protect the Canada that we're all striving for. On behalf of my family, thank you for your support.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour. I'm speaking to you today from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabeg peoples. I'd like to thank the True Patriot Love Foundation and the family of Captain Nichola Goddard for creating this space for Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and leaders from the civilian world to come together. Chaque jour, je vois des femmes militaires de tous les grades perpétuer l'héritage de la capitaine Goddard. Des femmes qui se vouent à bâtir un monde meilleur et plus équitable. Des femmes qui ont fait preuve d'une persévérance incroyable, même dans les moments les plus difficiles. And leading in our current environment, which, as noted in today's theme, is both complex and ambiguous, is certainly a challenge for everyone. This complexity and challenge exists in many ways, both on the international stage and within ourselves as an organization. On the international stage, we see the complexity in the way some nations now both challenge and ignore the rules-based international order that has guided the nature of responsible interstate relationships for decades. This occurs daily, below the threshold of conflict. Cyber and disinformation operations target nations' critical infrastructure and populations, limiting our ability to respond with traditional military mechanisms. And disturbingly, we are seeing the devastating impact of unprovoked military actions. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has prompted a complex set of response mechanisms. We've had to factor both political and military levers in addressing those terrible actions. This is an international leadership challenge that requires nations to respond with a unity of purpose and action. These issues have been forefront in our minds in recent days and Canada is responding with resolve alongside its allies. En même temps, nous continuons de travailler, de vivre et de nous adapter aux défis posés par la pandémie COVID-19. Nous avons dû ajuster nos façons de faire et d'interagir autant dans nos vies sociales que dans nos vies professionnelles, tout en continuant d'obtenir les résultats que les Canadiens et les Canadiennes attendent de leurs forces armées. And finally, we have not lost sight of the essential leadership challenge that we face internally in the CAF, that of changing our military culture to ensure all persons see themselves as able to grow, contribute, and thrive in service to their country. There's no magic bullet or guidebook on how to excel at leadership in these complex and ambiguous conditions, but I would offer that the way forward includes at least the following three things. First, you must have the competence and capacity to work towards an agreed outcome or end state. Second, you must be confident in your approach, but humbly recognize that as you chart a way ahead, there may be unforeseen reactions in all of that complexity. And finally, you must be open and be seen to be open to considering new ideas or concepts. Mes collègues et moi-même, en ma qualité de vice-chef d'état-major de la Défense, avons le privilège et la responsabilité de donner à tous les membres de nos forces armées les moyens d'agir pour qu'ils puissent accomplir le travail essentiel. And so we must deliberately focus on developing this humble, confident competence within the leaders in these challenging environments. We have always focused on building leaders with the technical and professional warfighting competencies needed to carry out their roles across all 5 military domains: maritime, land, air, space, and cyberspace. And we work hard to deliver these military skills in our soldiers, sailors, aviators, special operators, and leaders at all levels. And we are recognized for our skill in it. I would argue, however, that military hierarchies are perhaps less recognized for developing confidence and humility together. Some might even consider humility and confidence to be mutually exclusive. Mais lorsqu'on réfléchit à ce dont a besoin pour diriger dans des environnements complexes, des environnements qui, par leur nature, peuvent excéder l'expérience ou la compréhension d'une personne ou d'un groupe, on comprend rapidement que l'humilité est une qualité essentielle au leadership. We must build the expectation of a leadership environment that seeks not only to maximize the individual competency of the leader, but also their capacity to draw on and draw out the input and experiences of others to achieve better results. Cela veut dire qu'il faut créer un environnement dans lequel les dirigeants se sentent à l'aise de solliciter des avis et des conseils auprès de diverses sources, sans craindre de paraître moins compétents ou moins sûrs d'eux. Equally, we need to establish the environment where others, regardless of their hierarchical position, have the confidence to speak up or speak out and believe that in doing so, they're making a valued contribution. We have to recognize and reward that behavior as an attribute of teamwork and leadership. Complex and ambiguous environments by their nature challenge us with their uncertainty, their unfamiliarity, and their variability. And these are the characteristics that we see in today's global defense and security environment. So the efforts we undertake now to build a culture and a leadership climate that develops humble yet confident competence amongst our members and leaders is not only at the heart of our culture change agenda, but is essential for our operational success moving forward. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today, and thanks again to the True Patriot Love and the Goddard family for creating an opportunity for thoughtful and meaningful engagement. Profitez bien des conversations, des échanges de points de vue et de la camaraderie.